The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with worried voices. 12 different alien species sat around the massive circular table, their faces showing fear and concern. The emergency meeting had been called just hours ago when the news arrived. The Zephyrian Empire was moving toward Earth with the largest war fleet anyone had ever seen. Council Prime Vextar stood at the center of the room. His tall, blue-skinned form commanded attention as he spoke in his deep voice. "The situation is clear," he said, looking at the holographic display floating above the table. "The Zephyrian fleet consists of 2,000 ships, including 50 dreadnoughts. Earth has maybe 30 old defense platforms and a few hundred small ships." The other council members nodded sadly. Ambassador Paul Carter, the only human in the room, sat quietly in his chair. His face was pale as he listened to the aliens discuss his homeworld's fate, like it was already decided. "How long do we estimate Earth can hold out?" asked Counselor Theorak, an insect-like being from the hive worlds. Vextar touched a control pad, and the hologram changed to show battle calculations. "Our military experts have run the numbers many times. Earth's defenses will fail within 6 hours of the first attack. The humans simply do not have enough firepower to stop this invasion." On Earth, Admiral Kate Johnson stood in the command center deep beneath the North American Defense Complex. The room was filled with screens showing space around Earth. Her officers worked quietly at their stations, tracking every ship in the solar system. She looked tired, but her eyes were alert and focused. "Ma'am, we just received the Council's final assessment," said Lieutenant Commander Ben Davis, holding a data pad. "They give us 6 hours at most." Kate nodded slowly. "What does General Brooks say about our actual readiness?" "She says we're as ready as we'll ever be," Ben replied. "All hidden assets are in position. Project Nightfall is complete and waiting for your order." Kate walked to the main display screen. It showed what appeared to be Earth's pathetic defenses, a few orbital stations and some old patrol ships. Anyone looking at this display would think Earth was helpless. That was exactly what Kate wanted them to think. "Have we heard from Captain Ryan Hayes in the asteroid belt?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. His squadron reports all stealth systems are working perfectly. The enemy won't see them until it's too late." On the council station, Paul Carter received a private message on his secure communicator. It was from Earth, from Kate Johnson herself. The message was short. "Paul, trust us. Tell the council we appreciate their concern, but Earth is not as helpless as we appear." Paul read the message twice, then deleted it. He had known Kate for many years and trusted her completely. If she said Earth was ready, then he believed her. But looking around the council chamber at all the worried alien faces, he wondered if Kate truly understood what was coming. The Zephyrian fleet was not just large, it was the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Their ships had energy shields that could stop any known weapon. Their weapons could destroy planets. War Master Krelvac, their commander, had never lost a battle in 50 years of warfare. Vextar activated the communication system to send a message to Earth. "Admiral Johnson, this is Council Prime Vextar. We have completed our analysis of the approaching Zephyrian fleet. I must tell you honestly, your world cannot survive this attack. We recommend immediate evacuation of as many humans as possible." Kate's voice came back clear and calm. "Council Prime, thank you for your concern. Earth will defend itself with everything we have. We do not plan to evacuate." The council members looked at each other with surprise. Several whispered among themselves about human stubbornness and pride. "Admiral, please understand," Vextar continued. "This is not about courage or honor. This is about mathematics. You cannot win this fight." "We understand your position, Council Prime," Kate replied. "Earth will stand and fight." The communication ended. Vextar looked around the room at the other council members. "The humans have chosen to face their fate. We can do nothing more for them." Meanwhile, in a secret facility buried deep under the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Alex Morgan was putting the finishing touches on humanity's greatest secret. The laboratory was filled with equipment that no alien had ever seen. Humans had been very busy for the past 20 years. "Final systems check complete," announced Dr. Susan White, Alex's chief assistant. "All quantum disruption torpedoes are ready for deployment. Neural interface systems are operating at full efficiency." Alex smiled for the first time in weeks. "Good. How many ships do we have equipped and ready?" 800 stealth fighters, 200 heavy cruisers, and 50 dreadnought-class vessels, all invisible to current alien sensor technology. "And the pilots? All trained and ready. The neural interfaces will give them reaction times faster than any alien species can match. Alex walked to a window that looked out over a massive underground hangar. Hundreds of sleek black ships sat ready for launch. These ships looked nothing like the old, clunky vessels Earth showed to the galaxy. These were built with technology that humans had developed in secret, technology that would shock every alien species. Back on the council station, Paul Carter stood up to address the council. Honored members, I want to thank you for your concern about Earth. Whatever happens in the coming battle, humans will remember that the council tried to help us. Vextar nodded sadly. Ambassador Carter, your species has shown great courage in choosing to fight. When this is over, the council will make sure that human culture and history are preserved. Paul smiled slightly. I think you might be surprised by how this turns out, Council Prime. The council members looked confused by Paul's calm confidence, but they said nothing more. In their minds, Earth was already lost. They began discussing plans for dealing with the Zephyrian Empire after they conquered humanity's homeworld. None of them knew that everything was about to change. The humans had been preparing for this day for decades. They had learned from captured alien technology, improved it, and created weapons that would shock the entire galaxy. The council thought they were watching the last hours of human civilization. Instead, they were about to witness the beginning of a new era in galactic history. The Zephyrian fleet moved through space like a deadly storm. 2,000 ships traveled in perfect formation, their massive hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. At the center of the fleet, War Master Krelvak stood on the bridge of his flagship. The destroyer of worlds, Krelvak was a giant among his people, standing nearly 8 feet tall with 4 powerful arms and skin like black metal. His yellow eyes studied the tactical display showing Earth's solar system. In 50 years of warfare, he had conquered 43 worlds. Earth would be number 44. War Master, we will reach the edge of the human system in 4 hours, reported his second-in-command, Submaster Veltok. Our scouts confirmed the intelligence reports. Earth has only primitive defenses. Krelvak smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Excellent. This will be over quickly. The humans thought their little tricks in politics could protect them. They were wrong. The War Master was thinking about the incident 6 months ago when human ships had somehow stolen 3 Zephyrian cargo vessels. His empire had been embarrassed by the theft, but they assumed it was just luck. Soon the humans would pay for that insult with their planet. Far below the surface of Earth, Colonel Tracy Adams walked through a briefing room filled with the best pilots humanity had ever trained. These men and women looked calm and ready, but Tracy knew they were about to face the biggest challenge in human history. Listen up, everyone, Tracy said, standing in front of a large screen. In a few hours, we're going to show the galaxy what humans can really do. Each of you has trained for this moment for years. Your ships are better than anything the Zephyrians have. Your neural interfaces will make you faster than any alien pilot. Captain Sam Roberts sat in the front row, listening carefully. He had been chosen to lead the first attack wave. His ship, the Thunder, was equipped with weapons that could punch through any known shield. Sam felt ready, but he also knew that Earth's entire future depended on the next few hours. Remember, Tracy continued, the enemy thinks we're weak and primitive. They expect us to fight like the other species they've conquered. They have no idea what's coming. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Captain Ryan Hayes floated in his command chair aboard the stealth cruiser Ghost. Around him, 50 other invisible ships waited in perfect silence. Ryan's job was to lead the second wave of the attack, but first he had to make sure his ships stayed hidden. All vessels maintain stealth protocols, Ryan whispered into his communicator. Enemy scouts are passing through our area in 30 minutes. Nobody moves, nobody breathes too loud. Ryan's ships were completely invisible to alien sensors. Human scientists had studied captured Zephyrian technology for years and learned how to fool their detection systems. The aliens would never see the Ghost Squadron until it was too late. On the bridge of his ship, Ryan looked at the tactical display showing the approaching enemy fleet. The Zephyrians moved in a standard battle formation that human strategists had studied and planned for. Everything was going exactly as Earth's commanders had hoped. Dr. Alex Morgan stood in the main control room of Project Nightfall, watching hundreds of technicians make final preparations. The room was buried 3 miles underground and protected by shields that could stop a nuclear bomb. This was humanity's most important secret, and Alex was responsible for making sure it worked. Dr. Morgan, all antimatter reactors are online and stable, reported Dr. Carol Stone, the chief engineer. Power output is at maximum safe levels. Alex nodded and walked to the master control panel. With the push of a button, he could activate weapon systems that would surprise every alien in the galaxy. Humans had not just copied Zephyrian technology. They had improved it in ways the aliens never imagined. "What's the status on the quantum disruption torpedoes?" Alex asked. "All 8,000 torpedoes are loaded and ready," Carol replied. "Each one can penetrate Zephyrian shields and disable their ships without killing the crew inside." Alex smiled. The torpedoes were a human invention that used captured alien technology in a completely new way. Instead of just destroying enemy ships, they would shut down all electronic systems and leave the aliens floating helplessly in space. Lieutenant Nina Clark sat in the cockpit of her fighter, running through final system checks. Her ship was smaller than the big cruisers, but it was fast and deadly. The neural interface connected to her brain made her think and react faster than any alien could match. "All fighters report ready status," Nina said into her communicator. She was leading a squadron of 200 stealth fighters that would attack the enemy's command ships first. The neural interface felt strange at first, like having a computer connected directly to her thoughts. But after months of training, Nina could control her ship like it was part of her own body. She could think a command and her weapons would fire instantly. General Lisa Brooks stood in the main command center, watching displays that showed every human ship in the solar system. Most of the ships appeared to be old and weak, but that was just for show. Hidden throughout the system were nearly 1,000 of the most advanced warships ever built. "General, we're receiving the final approach vector from Zephyrian scouts," reported Major Jeff Wilson. "They're coming in exactly as our computers predicted." Lisa nodded. Human strategists had spent years studying alien battle tactics. They knew exactly how the Zephyrians would attack, and they had prepared a response for every possible move. "Send word to all hidden squadrons," Lisa ordered. "Begin moving to attack positions but maintain stealth protocols until I give the signal." Across the solar system, invisible human ships began to move. They traveled through space without making a sound or showing up on any sensor. The Zephyrian fleet had no idea they were already surrounded. War Master Krelvac studied the latest reports from his scouts. Earth looked even weaker than he had expected. The human ships were old and slow, their weapons were primitive, and they had no idea how to fight a real space battle. "Submaster, prepare the fleet for standard bombardment formation," Krelvac ordered. "We will destroy their orbital defenses first, then begin attacking the planet's surface." "Yes, War Master." "Should we offer them a chance to surrender?" Krelvac laughed. "Why would we show mercy to thieves? The humans stole from us. Now they will pay the price." The Zephyrian fleet began to change formation as they approached Earth. Their massive dreadnoughts moved to the front, ready to begin the bombardment. Behind them, smaller ships prepared to land troops on the planet's surface. None of the aliens noticed the small energy signatures that human sensors were detecting throughout their fleet. Captain Sam Roberts and his hidden ships had been quietly attaching tracking devices to Zephyrian vessels for the past hour. Every enemy ship was now marked and targeted. "All units, this is Admiral Johnson," came Kate's voice over the secure communication system. "The enemy fleet will be in range in 1 hour. Remember, we get one chance to do this right. Make every shot count." The human pilots and crews made their final preparations. They checked their weapons, tested their systems, and said quiet prayers. They all knew that the next few hours would determine whether humanity would survive or be wiped out forever. But they also knew something the aliens didn't. Earth was ready for this fight, and the Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that underestimating humans was the biggest mistake they could make. The Zephyrian fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system with a flash of blue light that could be seen from Mars. 2,000 warships materialized in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming like dark metal against the stars. War Master Krelvac smiled as he looked at the tactical display showing Earth's pathetic defenses. "Submaster Veltak, begin the attack approach," Krelvac ordered from his command throne. "Standard formation. Destroy their orbital platforms first, then begin bombardment of the planet's surface." The massive fleet began moving toward Earth like a slow avalanche of death. Their sensors showed exactly what they expected: a few old space stations and some outdated patrol ships. The humans were trying to look brave, but Krelvac knew they were terrified. On Earth, Admiral Kate Johnson watched the enemy fleet approach on her command screens. The aliens were moving exactly as human strategists had predicted. Every step they took brought them deeper into the trap that Earth had been preparing for years. "All stations, this is Admiral Johnson," Kate said calmly into her communicator. "The enemy has entered the system. Begin Operation Swift Justice on my mark." Throughout the solar system, hidden human ships received the signal. Captain Sam Roberts sat in the command chair of the Thunder, watching his tactical display as Zephyrian dreadnoughts moved past his position. The aliens had no idea that 50 human ships were floating invisibly just a few thousand miles away. "All units, this is Roberts," Sam whispered into his communicator. "Target the command ships first. Remember, we need to cut off their communications before they can call for help." Lieutenant Nina Clark felt her heart beating fast as she prepared for the attack. Her fighter was small compared to the massive alien ships, but her neural interface made her faster and more accurate than any Zephyrian pilot. She had trained for this moment for 3 years. The neural interface connected her mind directly to her ship's weapons and engines. When she thought about turning left, the ship turned left instantly. When she wanted to fire, her guns would shoot before she even finished the thought. It was like being part of the ship itself. "Fighter squadron, prepare for attack run," Nina said to her pilots. "Remember, hit fast and hit hard. Don't give them time to react." War Master Krelvac was studying a tactical report when his communications officer suddenly looked up with confusion. "War Master, I'm detecting some strange energy readings near our position." "What kind of readings?" Krelvac demanded. Before the officer could answer, space around the Zephyrian fleet exploded with weapons fire. Human ships seemed to appear from nowhere, their guns already shooting. The Thunder and her squadron emerged from stealth and opened fire with quantum disruption. Torpedoes. The first torpedo hit the Zephyrian flagships' shields and passed right through them like they were made of paper. The weapon struck the ship's main power core and released a burst of quantum energy that shut down every electronic system on board. The massive dreadnought went dark and began drifting helplessly through space. "What is happening?" Krelvac shouted as his bridge went black. Emergency power came on a few seconds later, but most of his ship's systems were completely dead. All around the Zephyrian fleet, the same thing was happening. Human ships appeared from invisibility and fired weapons that the aliens had never seen before. The quantum torpedoes didn't destroy the enemy ships. They disabled them completely, leaving their crews alive but helpless. Nina Clark's fighter squadron dove through the alien formation like deadly birds. Her neural interface let her dodge enemy fire that would have hit any normal pilot. She thought about targeting the nearest cruiser, and her weapons locked on instantly. "Fox 1, Fox 2, Nina said as she fired 2 torpedoes. Both weapons hit their target and the alien ship went dark immediately. "Target neutralized." Moving to next objective. Her squadron was performing perfectly. The neural interfaces gave human pilots reaction times that seemed impossible to the aliens. Zephyrian gunners tried to track the fast-moving human fighters, but they were too slow. By the time they aimed their weapons, the human ships had already moved. Captain Ryan Hayes and his stealth squadron struck from the asteroid belt like ghosts. The Ghost and her sister ships had been waiting in perfect silence for hours. When the signal came, they activated their engines and raced toward the enemy fleet at incredible speed. "Ghost Squadron, target the enemy supply ships," Ryan ordered. "Cut off their fuel and ammunition." Ryan's ships were equipped with new human engines that used controlled antimatter reactions. They were faster than any Zephyrian vessel and could change direction in ways that alien ships couldn't match. The enemy never saw them coming. The quantum torpedoes struck one supply ship after another. Each hit shut down the ship's systems completely, leaving it floating dead in space. Within minutes, the Zephyrian fleet had lost most of its supplies and fuel. War Master Krelvac finally got his communications working and tried to contact his other ships. What he heard made his blood run cold. Ship after ship reported the same thing. They were disabled and helpless. Weapons that passed through their shields like they didn't exist. Human ships that appeared from nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. "All ships, retreat immediately," Krelvac ordered. "Fall back to the edge of the system." But it was too late. Commander Jake Miller's heavy cruiser squadron had been waiting at the edge of the system for exactly this moment. When the surviving Zephyrian ships tried to escape, they found human dreadnoughts blocking their path. "This is Commander Miller to all Zephyrian vessels," Jake announced over an open channel. You are surrounded. Surrender now and your crews will not be harmed. Jake's ships were the biggest secret in Earth's fleet. They looked like normal human dreadnoughts from the outside, but inside they carried technology that no alien had ever imagined. Their shields could stop any known weapon, and their guns could punch holes through planets. The Zephyrian ships that tried to fight back discovered that their weapons couldn't even scratch the human shields. Energy beams that could melt mountains bounced off the Earth ships like raindrops. Meanwhile, human return fire disabled one alien vessel after another. Dr. Alex Morgan watched the battle from his underground command center with growing excitement. Carol, what's our status on power consumption? We're only using 12% of available power, Dr. Carol Stone reported. The antimatter reactors are barely working at all, Alex smiled. The human fleet was winning so easily that they didn't even need to use their full power. The aliens had built their ships to fight other aliens, but they had never faced human technology before. On the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Paul Carter watched the battle displays with growing amazement. The tactical screens showed Zephyrian ships going dark one after another, while human vessels seemed to dance through space untouched. Council Prime Vextar stared at the displays in shock. This is impossible. How are the humans doing this? I told you that you might be surprised, Paul said quietly. The battle had been going on for only 14 minutes, but already half of the Zephyrian fleet was disabled or destroyed. The aliens who had expected an easy victory were learning that they had made a terrible mistake. War Master Krelvak finally accepted the truth. His mighty fleet had been defeated by a species he thought was primitive and weak. His ship was dead in space, his weapons were useless, and human vessels surrounded him on all sides. This is War Master Krelvak to the human fleet, he said over the communication system. I request terms for surrender. Admiral Kate Johnson's voice came back clear and strong.
War Master, this is Admiral Johnson.
You will order all your ships to stand down immediately. Any vessel that continues to fight will be destroyed. Krelvak looked around his darkened bridge at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. In 50 years of warfare, he had never surrendered. But he had also never faced an enemy like this. All Zephyrian vessels, this is your War Master, he said slowly. Cease all hostile actions immediately. We surrender to the human fleet. The greatest invasion fleet in galactic history had lasted exactly 18 minutes against Earth's defenses. The Galactic Council chamber was completely silent. 12 alien species sat frozen in their chairs, staring at the tactical displays that showed something impossible. The mighty Zephyrian fleet, which had conquered dozens of worlds, was floating helplessly in space around Earth. Most of their ships were dark and dead, their crews alive but trapped inside vessels with no power. Council Prime Vextar's blue face had turned almost white with shock. His hands shook as he touched the controls to replay the battle recordings. Show me that again, he whispered. Show me how the humans did this. The holographic display replayed the last 18 minutes in slow motion. It showed human ships appearing from nowhere, firing weapons that passed through Zephyrian shields and disabling the most powerful warships in the galaxy with ease. Every council member watched in amazement as Earth's forces made the impossible look simple. Their ships were invisible to our sensors, said Counselor Thyrak, her insect-like voice filled with wonder. How did they develop stealth technology that advanced? Ambassador Paul Carter stood up slowly. For the first time since the emergency session began, he looked completely calm and confident. Council Prime, I believe Admiral Johnson would like to address the Council directly. The main communication screen activated, and Kate Johnson's face appeared. She looked tired but satisfied, like someone who had just finished a difficult job. Behind her, the Earth Command Center buzzed with activity as her officers coordinated the capture of the Zephyrian fleet. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Kate said in a clear, strong voice. I am Admiral Kate Johnson of the Earth Defense Force. I want to thank you for your concern about my world's safety. As you can see, those concerns were unnecessary. Vextar found his voice after several seconds of stunned silence. Admiral Johnson, how is this possible? Our intelligence reports showed that Earth had only primitive defenses. Kate smiled slightly. Council Prime, Earth has been aware of galactic politics for much longer than you realized. 23 years ago, human merchants began trading with Outer Rim worlds. We learned about the various alien technologies and studied them carefully. The council members looked at each other with growing alarm. If humans had been secretly studying alien technology for over 2 decades, what else had they been hiding? 6 years ago, Kate continued, Zephyrian raiders attacked one of our deep space research stations. They stole some equipment and killed 14 of our scientists. That's when we decided we needed better defenses. On the display, Kate gestured toward something off-screen. Dr. Alex Morgan, would you join me, please? Dr. Alex Morgan stepped into view of the camera. He looked like a normal human scientist, but the equipment visible behind him was clearly far more advanced than anything the Council had seen before. Dr. Morgan led our defensive technology development program, Kate explained. Alex, would you tell the Council about our quantum disruption torpedoes? Alex cleared his throat and spoke in a calm, professional voice. Honored Council members, the quantum torpedoes are based on captured Zephyrian technology, but we improved the design significantly. Instead of destroying ships, they shut down all electronic systems without harming the crew inside. Counselor Mortex, a reptilian being from the desert worlds, leaned forward in his chair. But how did you penetrate our shield technology? Zephyrian shields are considered impenetrable. We discovered that all current shield designs have the same basic flaw, Alex replied. They're designed to stop energy in solid matter, but they can't stop quantum phase particles. Our torpedoes exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously until they impact their target. The explanation meant nothing to most of the Council members, but they understood the result. Human weapons could pass through any shield in the galaxy. Meanwhile, Captain Amy Foster was leading boarding parties onto the Zephyrian command ship. Her Marines moved through the darkened corridors carefully, their weapons ready but not threatening. They found the alien crew huddled in groups, confused and frightened by their sudden defeat. War Master Krelvac, Amy called out as she entered the main bridge. I am Captain Foster of the Earth Defense Force. You and your crew are now prisoners of war. Krelvac looked at the human captain with a mixture of respect and bewilderment. Amy was much smaller than him, but she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had just won a major victory. Captain Foster, I must ask, Krelvac said slowly. How long has your species been preparing for this battle? About 20 years, War Master, Amy replied honestly. We knew that someday a major power would try to conquer Earth. We decided to be ready when that day came. Krelvac nodded sadly. My empire made a terrible mistake. We thought humans were weak and primitive. We were very wrong. Back on the Council station, the discussion was becoming more intense. Counselor Zarnak, a tall being with gray skin and 4 eyes, stood up to speak. Admiral Johnson, if humans have had this technology for years, why did you never reveal it to the galaxy? Kate's expression became more serious. Counselor Zarnak, Earth requested membership in the Galactic Council 7 years ago. Our application was rejected because the Council decided humans were too primitive and aggressive to join galactic civilization. The Council members looked uncomfortable. Several of them had voted against human membership, believing that Earth had nothing to offer the galaxy. Since the Council rejected us, Kate continued, we decided to focus on defending ourselves. We continued our research and development in secret, preparing for the day when someone would try to conquer us. Dr. Alex Morgan stepped forward again. Council members, I want to show you something that might interest you. The display changed to show a new image. It was a massive space station orbiting Earth, but it was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The station was clearly human-built, but it used technology that seemed decades ahead of anything in the galaxy. This is Defense Station Alpha, Alex explained. It's powered by controlled antimatter reactions and equipped with planetary shield generators. The station can protect Earth from any attack and can project defensive shields around other worlds as well. Council Prime Vextar stared at the station in amazement. Admiral Johnson, this technology could revolutionize galactic defense systems. Would humanity be willing to share this knowledge? Kate looked at him for a long moment before answering. Council Prime, Earth is prepared to discuss many things with the Galactic Council, but first we need to establish some new agreements about how the galaxy will be governed. The meaning was clear to everyone in the chamber. Humanity was no longer asking to join the Galactic Council as a junior member. They were demanding to be treated as equals, or perhaps even as the dominant power. Ambassador Paul Carter spoke up for the first time since the battle ended. Honored Council members, I have been authorized by Earth's government to present humanity's new terms for galactic cooperation. Paul activated a holographic display that showed a detailed document. First, immediate recognition of human space sovereignty over a sphere 50 light-years around Earth. Second, establishment of new council protocols that include human oversight of all military actions. Third, technology sharing agreements that benefit all species equally. The council members read through the terms with growing shock. Humanity wasn't just asking for membership anymore. They were demanding leadership of the galactic community. And if the council refuses these terms? Asked Vextar quietly. Kate Johnson's image appeared on the screen again. Behind her, displays showed the captured Zephyrian fleet and the advanced human warships guarding them. Council Prime, I hope that won't be necessary. Earth prefers to work with the galactic community peacefully, but we are also prepared to defend our interests and the interests of our allies. The message was clear. Humanity had just defeated the most powerful military force in the galaxy in 18 minutes. The Council could accept the new reality, or they could find out what else Earth's forces were capable of. Vexitar looked around the chamber at the other Council members. Their faces showed a mixture of fear, respect, and resignation. The galaxy had changed forever, and there was no going back to the old ways. Admiral Johnson, Vexitar said finally, the Galactic Council will need time to discuss these proposals. Of course, Council Prime, Kate replied. Take all the time you need. Earth will be here when you're ready to talk. 3 days after the battle, the Galactic Council reconvened an emergency session. The chamber felt different now. The alien representatives who had once dismissed humanity as primitive and unimportant now spoke in hushed, respectful voices. Everyone understood that the galaxy had changed forever. Council Prime Vextar stood at the center of the chamber, but his usual commanding presence was gone. He looked tired and uncertain as he addressed the other members. We have spent the last 3 days reviewing Earth's proposals and discussing our response. The situation is clear. Humanity has demonstrated military superiority that we cannot match. Admiral Kate Johnson appeared on the main communication screen, looking calm and professional. Behind her, Earth's command center showed displays of human ships throughout the solar system. The message was subtle but clear. Earth was ready for anything. Honored Council members, Kate said, Earth hopes we can reach an agreement that benefits all species in the galaxy. We don't want to rule over anyone, but we also won't accept being treated as inferiors. Ambassador Paul Carter sat in his chair at the council table, watching the other members carefully. Over the past 3 days, he had received dozens of private messages from alien representatives asking about human intentions. They were all scared, but they were also curious about Earth's technology. Councillor Thyrak spoke first. Admiral Johnson, the Hive worlds want to understand your quantum disruption technology. Our ships are vulnerable to the same weapons that defeated the Zephyrians. Would Earth be willing to share defensive improvements? Kate nodded. Earth is prepared to share defensive technology with all council members, provided that certain agreements are reached first. What kind of agreements? Asked Councillor Mortex. Dr. Alex Morgan stepped into view beside Kate. First, we need a new military cooperation treaty. No species will be allowed to attack another council member. All conflicts will be resolved through negotiation, not warfare. The council members looked at each other nervously. This was a major change from the old system, where stronger species often bullied weaker ones. But with human weapons capable of defeating any fleet, the old rules no longer applied. Second, Alex continued, we want to establish joint research programs. Human scientists will work with alien experts to develop new technologies that benefit everyone. This proposal was more appealing to the Council. Earth's technology was clearly decades ahead of anything they had, and the chance to learn from human scientists was very attractive. Captain Sam Roberts floated in the command center of the Thunder, watching his crew prepare for the next phase of their mission. The disabled Zephyrian ships were being towed to a secure location, where their crews would be processed and eventually returned home. Sam felt proud of his people's performance. But he also knew this was just the beginning. Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Command, reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Dave Parker. Put it through, Sam replied. General Lisa Brooks appeared on the screen. Sam, good work out there. I'm sending you new orders. Your squadron will escort the Zephyrian prisoners to Neutral Station 7 for processing. Understood, General. What about War Master Krelvak? He's requested a personal meeting with Admiral Johnson. Apparently he wants to discuss something important. War Master Krelvac sat in a small room aboard a human transport ship, still trying to understand what had happened to his fleet. He had studied the battle recordings dozens of times, but he still couldn't believe how quickly and completely his forces had been defeated. Captain Amy Foster entered the room and sat across from him. War Master, Admiral Johnson will speak with you in a few minutes. Is there anything you need? Krelvac looked at the human captain with curiosity. Captain Foster, may I ask you something? Go ahead. How long have your people been planning for a war with my empire? Amy thought for a moment before answering. We weren't planning for war with anyone specifically, War Master. We were just preparing to defend ourselves if anyone tried to conquer us. But your weapons, your ships, your tactics, everything was designed to defeat Zephyrian technology. Actually, our systems were designed to work against any known alien technology, Amy explained. We studied every species in the galaxy and prepared for all possibilities. Krelvac shook his head in amazement. My people thought humans were young and stupid. We were very wrong. The communication screen in the room activated and Admiral Kate Johnson appeared. She looked at Krelvac with a mixture of sternness and respect. War Master Krelvac, Kate said. I understand you wanted to speak with me personally. Yes, Admiral. I want to offer my services to Earth. Kate raised an eyebrow. Explain. My empire is finished, Krelvac said bluntly. When news of this defeat reaches our homeworlds, there will be civil war. Different factions will fight for control, and thousands will die. But if Earth supports a new government, we could have peace instead of chaos. Kate studied the alien warrior carefully. What exactly are you proposing? Make me your representative to the Zephyrian people. Help me establish a new government that will work with Earth instead of fighting you. In return, my people will share everything we know about galactic military technology. Back in the council chamber, the discussions were becoming more detailed. Earth's proposals were complex, but the basic message was simple. Humanity wanted to be the galaxy's new leader, and they had the power to enforce that position. The question we must ask ourselves, said Councillor Zarnak, is whether we accept this new reality peacefully, or whether we resist and risk the consequences. Vextar looked around the chamber at the other council members. Does anyone believe we have the military strength to oppose Earth's demands? The silence that followed was answer enough. Every species in the galaxy combined couldn't match the technology that humanity had just demonstrated. Then we must negotiate the best terms we can, Vextar said finally. Ambassador Carter, what exactly does Earth want from the Council? Paul stood up and activated a holographic display. Earth wants 3 things. First, formal recognition as the galaxy's primary military power. Second, the right to veto any council decision that affects galactic security. Third, the establishment of new trade agreements that give Earth access to alien resources and markets. The terms were demanding, but they weren't unreasonable. Earth wasn't asking to conquer anyone or destroy alien governments. They just wanted to be in charge of keeping the peace. In return, Paul continued, Earth offers several benefits. Defensive technology for all council members, joint research programs to advance galactic science, protection for smaller species who can't defend themselves. Dr. Alex Morgan appeared on a separate screen to address the technical aspects. Council members, I want to show you what cooperation with Earth could accomplish. The display changed to show designs for new types of spacecraft, energy systems, and defensive technologies. All of them were based on human innovations that were decades ahead of current galactic standards. These are just the beginning, Alex explained. Human scientists have been working on projects that could revolutionize space travel, planetary engineering, and energy production. We're willing to share all of this knowledge with the galactic community. The offer was incredibly tempting. Access to human technology could advance alien civilizations by centuries almost overnight. Council Prime Vextar stood up slowly. Admiral Johnson, the Galactic Council accepts Earth's proposals in principle. We request a formal treaty ceremony to establish the new agreements. Kate smiled for the first time since the battle ended. Thank you, Council Prime. Earth looks forward to working with all of you to build a better galaxy. 1 week later, representatives from every major species gathered at Earth's new orbital station for the signing ceremony. The treaty established humanity as the galaxy's dominant power, but it also created a framework for peaceful cooperation that would benefit everyone. Ambassador Paul Carter signed the documents on behalf of Earth, while Admiral Kate Johnson and Dr. Alex Morgan watched from the observation deck. Through the station's windows, they could see human and alien ships working together in space. "So what happens now?" Alex asked. Kate looked out at the stars and smiled. "Now we get to work building the future. It's going to be a very interesting galaxy from now on." The age of human dominance had begun, but it would be an age of cooperation and progress rather than conquest and war. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the species that calls itself human.